Hey everyone, it's Rick Nusky. In this tips, tricks and traps video, I promised you that I would cover off on Google Analytics and how to get involved with it and really provide you, at this stage, a high-level overview of the benefits of using this free software that is provided by Google. Now, there are many moving parts to the Google universe, if you like, and really we would spend hours going through all of the different features and the benefits and the configuration requirements. So if at any stage you need help with that, you can just reach out to me offline, and I will be more than happy to spend some time with you to get you to that stage where you can use it with a level of confidence, I guess at a very basic level. So for us to learn a little bit more, let's go over to the screencast and we'll take it from there. All right, what we can see here is the search on Google Analytics. Now, if you recall from a previous video, what I've mentioned is that to get access to Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Google AdWords, Gmail, YouTube, and the list goes on and on and on, you'll first need to have your own Google account. Now, this is free, and essentially it means either choosing a Gmail account, a Gmail email, or using your own external email account that you prefer. It could be any source of an email account. You'll need to verify it. And once you've done that, you get to come into the Google universe and start using all of their resources basically for free. So here we are on the Google Analytics page. You can see here that I'm already logged into my account. And if we go into the Google Analytics page, what we will see is a dashboard of activities and metrics and things of this nature. Just a basic layout overview, because it can be quite intimidating for the uninitiated. Now, top right hand side, this is about your account information. This button here, you can change user settings, send some feedback. This is the typical link inside your analytics to Tag Manager, how to optimize your site, data studios, and other surveys that you can run, as well as notes that you will receive from time to time about what you can do to improve the user experience inside your account. Now, I have some filters on at the moment, which will suggest that there might be issues with that, but I know there's not, so I'll just dismiss that. On the home page, we're just tracking at the moment. This is essentially a new setup for the sake of this video. And what you'll see is that we're tracking all of the activities that are occurring for our website traffic, organic website traffic, paid website traffic. No matter what it is, we track it. Now, like many other websites and services, you have to add tracking code, which in this case Google Analytics will provide you. But for the sake of this video, we won't go into the process of adding the code to your website. If you'd like me to create a video for that, just touch base with me and let me know, and I will put that together. So moving down from top to bottom, we have a dashboard, a private dashboard, and you can scroll down there and you can see a whole host of different important aspects of your business. One of the things that we did when we set up this particular test so that you could see it was that we set up the Google Analytics to focus primarily on Australia. Now, obviously what that does is forces in this global perspective that most of our traffic should in fact come from Australia, and you can see by the dark blue that in fact that it does. That's not to say that information and search results are not captured from elsewhere, because they certainly do. We will find that people are using different browsers and different devices, and it can tell us all about that information. How many users, from a general perspective, are looking at our page since the start of the test, and who are the new users and who are the return users are another metric. The average session duration and the number of pages that have been searched. And in this particular account, we've not set up goals or e-commerce, which you can set up to track conversions, another way to track conversions. So you would put a snippet of code provided by Google Analytics on your conversion page, which identifies that anybody who hits that page have actually gone through your checkout process, and they've redirected to your thank you page, and that will trigger the Google Analytics code to capture that as a successful sale or a successful goal completion. That goal completion, for example, might be an opt-in. So you can set up a whole range of different things later on. But for the sake of this, we'll just go through and give you a bit of an overview of what's happening here. There's no shortcuts that we've set up at the moment. On the bar up here, we can set up shortcuts to help us navigate around this site. We can look at intelligence events. Looks like this will actually be removed soon, so that won't be an option. So no need to talk about that too much more. This is a really cool option here. What you can do is actually see this number will change according to how many people are on your site. We are actually, in fact, in maintenance mode, so there are no people showing on this site, so it's sort of hidden in maintenance mode. But you'll see the numbers go up and down, and as you can see here, you're having different people looking at the site, how long they're looking at the site, how many minutes, how many seconds, and where they're actually looking, where they're coming from, where the traffic sources are coming from, and are they coming from a social site, a social networking site? Where are they coming from? So again, the use of Google Analytics is a way for you to gather information about your target audience, and gather information about your website and how it's laid out and how people are interacting with it, so that you can optimize it, and you can get better results by understanding your numbers and understanding, not guessing, understanding with data what is actually happening in your world. Real-time locations, again, you can look at traffic sources, which is will be listed here when the site's available for that purpose. What content are they looking at? Are there any conversions that are going on? Now, in the audience tab, it's a pretty powerful tab. It will give you an overview, which is the landing page overview, and it's saying to us that since the test has been started, there's been 329 unique sessions being started. Now you can expand into that and look at that one in particular. How many users there were? There were 91. It seems at the moment that there is almost 1 in 2 people that look at the site will bounce from that page straight away, which is not a good number. You want to drive that number down. How many returning visitors versus new visitors? Even down to the granular level of are they speaking English or any other particular language? Now, there is some things to look out for. There are some issues with people that like to create problems for Google users. So this is one of them, and we have exceptions set up in here which will help you to avoid this rubbish data. I call it rubbish data. It's essentially people who don't have anything better to do putting rubbish data into your analytics. They're quite intelligent. It's just a pity that they're not using their skills for better purposes. But we'll talk about exceptions in a minute, so that you don't look at that data when you're looking at your analytics. active users into more details. You can do it over periods of time, longer and shorter, depending on what your intended outcome is. You can even look at their age and their gender. I'm not actually sure how they determine age and gender, because it could be some random person using another PC or Mac somewhere, but it's interesting nevertheless. We can look at their interests if you set that up, what market segments they're looking at, their geographic location and their language, as I've just mentioned earlier. And here you can set up exclusions to knock out this data here, which we have done. And where are they coming from is another good one. We have new versus returning visitors, which sort of tells you whether or not you're getting some new people looking at your website, which is always the aim. The frequency and recency, so what pages are they looking at and how long are they looking at, and how many page views have they had. And the level of engagement is also an important one, as is page depth. You know, you might have 6 pages. How far are they going into your website? Are they only hitting the first page and not doing anything else? Or are they actually looking at other information? Again, what browsers are they using? In this case, you can see that they're anything from Chrome to what's called Opera Mini. So Apple iPhones and Androids. So it really tells you that for my case, the large number of them are using, in fact, 43% are using Chrome, 33% are using the Edge, and then others are using Safari browsers for Apple devices, and others are using the Firefox, and so on. So that's interesting. And if you're optimizing for mobile, that's critically important information to know. Then we have the network that they're using. So I don't necessarily need to know this as much as other data, but it's nice to know if they're coming from places like HubSpot. So again, it's a good thing to be looking at if you're interested in knowing what their networks, their internet network provider is all about. We have a mobile overview, what devices they're using. So desktop, the large number of people seeing this site are using desktop. To a lesser extent, 18% in fact are using mobile, and only 5% are using tablets. Now, this is a fairly short window of time, so if you give this a complete month to run and you're running paid traffic for a month to get a good data set, because sample size is everything. You really want to get a larger sample size of people looking and clicking around your site to understand exactly what's happening in your business. You can see up here we have site usage and e-commerce again. So if you want to know who's doing what on what device, if you have your e-commerce set up, that will give you some great insights as to whether or not people are buying from mobile sites or from their laptop or tablets or desktops for that matter. We can see here that 40% of the users are using Samsung, and others are using Apple devices to view the website, which is interesting. I'm looking for a particular page here which shows, here we go. This will show you, based on what is happening on your site when you first start the test, it will reflect, and keep in mind there is generally a 24-hour delay between the time something happens in real life and real time to the time that it's is shown in your Google account. So just keep that in mind. You can see here that depending on where they're coming from, is what you're doing, are any changes that you're making during the test period actually having a positive or negative effect on your visitors' behavior? You can see here for page sessions that the changes that were made for direct channel grouping are improving the user experience by this percentage, as they are for referral, social, and organic. However, if we're looking at acquisition for these same channels, a lot of it's in pink and red, and it's really saying to us that, hey, all of these areas are opportunities to improve the way that people are coming into your site and what they're doing whilst they're there. And this is one of the ones that I use quite a bit to understand the path that users are taking when they arrive. Obviously, they'll land on a particular page, and typically that'll be myfuturebusiness.com, and as that's the home page, what we've set up as the home page. Now, in here you can see we have some visitors from Russia, Philippines, and United States. And frankly, we're not interested in that traffic because at the moment we don't deal with any other businesses except for those that are inside of Australia. So if you click on this, you can isolate, I guess, the process flow, the user flow, and their behaviour to only this segment. And you would click on this, view only this segment, and it hides the rest, which is very useful to help you understand your target market and, you know, from a process perspective, what are they doing, where are they falling off, and if they're falling off on the home page here, or you'll see a lot of drop off, but typically they'll get to, it says here that there'll be 12 pages, 43% through traffic to the starting pages, and 56% of those will drop off at this point. So 33% of the total traffic will only get to one page, and then they'll drop off and go somewhere else. Now, if you follow this path to the podcast, for example, you'll see, just by highlighting over these grey-blue sort of strings, if you go to, if you want to know about, in our case, the podcast, what's happening there, there's been 15 sessions of the podcast being viewed, which is almost 6% of the total traffic that we've had. And we see here, there's not any drop-off in this respect. And what are they watching when they get there? Well, in this case, it seems that for the short period of time, they've been watching Michael Oliver's Natural Selling. But of those people that were watching it, there were two drop-offs. There were two drop-offs out of the 6, so around 33% fell off the website at that stage. There was nothing else that enticed them to stay any further. Now, if we go back to other areas, you can really drive down deep into what's happening on your site. For example, it's kind of concerning for me to look at this and say, well, why are there so many drop-offs at this page? What is it about this page that are not enticing enough for them to travel any further through? But we see here the very next button in the menu to the right of the home page, or the welcome button in the menu, is our about page, our mission page. And you see there that there is a small percentage of drop-off. One, in fact, dropped off there. But of the sessions that were recorded, they went through to the contact page, and then from the contact page, they actually went through to the podcast, and then they dropped off. So really what you're trying to do is reduce, should I say, the number of drop-offs from your website by looking at this particular page, making changes, waiting for at least 24 hours to go by, and then, you know, periodically coming back and reviewing whether or not the changes you are making are improving the statistics that you're seeing on these pages. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to personally do this. This may be something that you have a team member hired to do, which could be a better use of your time. This is just an overview of the Google Analytics dashboard to help you sort of understand what it's all about if you don't already have an account. In relation to acquisition, so if we look at the acquisition pages, what we can see here is very, very interesting data. It says that we're getting our top channels, which means that, you know, there's direct traffic coming in, which is almost half of our traffic. Then we have organic searches, there's 32%, social searches is 13%, and referral traffic. So referral might be links from other websites. You're really depending on what marketing strategy you're using. So if you have a social media strategy and you're only getting 13%, you'd be well advised to do make some improvements, some changes, and continual testing those so you can drive up that number so that it is the largest piece of that pie, as an example. And down here it gives you more information about behaviours and acquisition, what they're doing, where they're bouncing. Below that, under the acquisitions overview channel, you can see where they're coming from, what are the users, where are they bouncing, average session time. You can see here that we don't have any goal conversions or e-commerce set up, so you won't see any data there, but that's certainly something to look at. This account has not yet been set up to link with our AdWords account. It will be, and we'll run AdWords accounts, and we can automatically see our campaigns inside of this account, or inside of our Google Analytics account. So we're really going to one place to view all of our data. And so there's a little bit of work that needs to go on between Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager and Google AdWords to get that all working. But once it's configured, you generally don't have to worry about that again. So we won't really go into too much detail there. But an important one is the Google Search Console. So this one is to do with data and analytics that will help you, again, improve performance of your site in Google searches. So that's really key. If you're not being found in Google search, you're not being seen. And if you're not being seen, you have very low likelihood or chance that you'll be able to convert people that are not seeing your website. So important to set up this as well. Under the social tabs, again, these are elements that you can set up to see who's sharing what, who's doing what with your site, and who's interacting. Really, that's the general theme of Google Analytics, is understanding human behavior, understanding buyer behavior. So finally, if we look at all the campaigns, you can have a look at all your campaigns that you've set up. Are they paid keyword searches, which is something I'll cover off in the Google AdWords module, which is pretty exciting because they allow you to look at all the keywords that people are actually searching for. Then behavior. Let's have a look at that. As an overview, we can see that people are looking mostly at the home page, 28%, and then for the other pages which we have, you can see the page views and the percentage of those. Now, it really depends on your strategy as to whether or not the home page on its own is really only what you want them to look at. And if that's the case, then your objective has been met. But if you're wanting people to look at your membership and opt in there, well, that may not be a good enough number for you. If you want them to look at your blog, that number may not be enough for you. So just look at the data, keep analysing the data and making changes until you're happy with the results that you're seeing statistically. And again, the behavioural flow is something we use quite often. This is probably the most important page for us. In terms of site content, we can look at all of the pages and drill down into the almost infinite levels of detail as to how many people are looking at it, how many unique visitors are looking at it, how many times they've gone to that page, how long in terms of time they're on that page. Is that the exit page that most people drop off at? And all those important metrics. Now, if you're overwhelmed by all of this, don't be. Just as a new user, just go in there and learn a little bit about each page at a time. there are actually lots of good videos that Google provide new users. So really take advantage of those and learn through those, more so than this particular video, because this really doesn't tell you a great deal about the infinite levels of configurations and other things you can do to get the most out of this free but very powerful tool. So really, that's it for this video. I'm hopeful that you took a little bit away from having a look inside. If you need any help, reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to help you get set up. Speak with you soon.